Y'all, I went down a 304 Tok rabbit hole, and those ladies were going in on the feminine hygiene tips. And you know, with summer being right around the corner, or it might already be here, you know, aka the season of ingrown hairs, thighs rubbing up against each other, sweat everywhere, and I mean everywhere. I found it fitting to post this video where we decipher 304 Tok's biggest vaginal hygiene tips, like, does Pedialyte do what they say it does?
Spectacular. Give me 14 of them right now.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what's in here?
I don't care. Don't tell me.
I mean, for, you know, research purposes, we need to know. And what about the Yoni soaps? And then there was this one thing with witch hazel on the toilet paper, and then you kind of, like, we need to know some things. Now, y'all better buckle up, because today we are taking a journey through the dazzling world of 304 Tok, and because I am me, we also are going to bring on a board-certified OB-GYN along the ride for us, and we're going to get some invaluable tips on how to keep our love pockets feeling their best and thriving all summer long. You know what else could be thriving this summer? You being more confident with your skin, and Agency can help you get there. And shout out to Agency for sponsoring this video. Having dark spots is no fun, trust me, I've been there. But treating them, and them joints have the nerve to not back down, the audacity. Listen, there are levels when it comes to dark spots. Level 1, you can waltz into any store, pick up a dark spot treatment, and within 6 to 8 weeks and consistent use of sunscreen, they're faded. However, older dark spots, that level 2, those are the dark spots you've had 4 months or older, and those dark spot treatments that you can just waltz into the store to buy, they're probably not gonna give you the results that you're after. Those level 2 dark spots need the guidance of a Skin of Color pro, and usually the first line of defense is a prescription cream. However, as you can hear in the name prescription, you gotta go to the doctor, you gotta pay a copay, get dressed, it's a lot involved. However, with Agency, you can get custom prescription skincare without having to leave your house. So this is custom prescription skincare that can help with those older stubborn dark spots. It can also help with things like texture, fine lines, wrinkles, or in my case, like, I'm trying to preserve the smoothness. Like, I want the smoothness to keep trucking on for as long as possible. I've been using tretinoin since my 30s, but you know, tretinoin is something you need a prescription for. But I have my Agency Future formula, which I've been using for the past 2 years. The only thing I need to leave the house for is to check the mail. And that's only sometimes, because sometimes the mail person's kind enough to just leave it in front of my door. You can scan this QR code or click the link in the description box for more information on Agency and how you can get a special offer on your first box. Now, thankfully, I follow my own advice. The same advice I give y'all in my videos about dark spots is the same advice I use in my life, and knock on wood, she hasn't had an issue with dark spots in a long time. But I do keep my skin glowing and protected with their Future formula. Mine contains tretinoin, you know, the gold standard ingredient for anti-aging. With Agency, you also get access to a licensed dermatology provider and a portal with detailed information on how to use your custom prescription formulas, when to use it, what to use it with, what not to use it with, yada yada. And if you ever have any questions, you can message them and they'll get back to you. Now let's get to this Pedialyte.
Let's jump right into it. When y'all are starting y'all showers, y'all make sure that you are starting with an antibacterial soap before you go with all these body washes. Antibacterial first, then your body wash. Get you a good feminine wash. It's so many good feminine wash on the market. We come in with a Yoni bar. I always talk to y'all about probiotics. I'm not saying go get whatever, do whatever works for you. Just take you a probiotic. Some of them you only take 1 a day. Some of them you take 2 a day. Make sure you're taking a probiotic. I don't care which one it is. With you a whole bunch of water. Make sure you are drinking your water. And y'all, listen, I'm not lying. You know, Crush on Do I come in with you some Pedialyte, baby, you gonna be dripping. It's a waterfall. Y'all, this is for real. Witch hazel. Get you some witch hazel on a cotton thing and you wipe your backside. You wipe your backside front to back. You're gonna have no odor. No odor whatsoever. I know you done got out of the shower and you saying I shouldn't have an odor, but you're going to use your witch hazel and you have no odor throughout the day. I don't care if you go to the gym. I don't care if you do any of these things. You are not going to have any type of odor when you put your witch hazel front to back. I take 2 showers a day, witch hazel. One last thing. After you finish doing the do, make sure that you are putting in a boric acid after you finish doing the do. Boric acid. If you don't have a boric acid with you, have you a rinse. to clean yourself out.
Okay, so there was a lot of information given there, so let's break it down bit by bit. But first, let's meet our special guest. So this is Kiarra King, MD, FACOG. She's a board-certified OB-GYN, based in Melrose Park, Illinois, a homeschool mama with a beautiful family, and I've been following her on Instagram for years. So she and I watched 304 Talk together and asked for her pro opinion because while I'm thankful more women are having autonomy about talking about our bodies, I wanted to also have the medical balance here while still keeping it lighthearted. And maybe that age-old keep it simple advice applies here as well.
I mean, how many soaps did she use? She said use the antibacterial, then do a body scrub, then do your vaginal wash, and then a yoni bar. I was like, girl, you do not need all that stuff. I usually tell people that you don't really need a lot of products. You can wash externally on the vulva, but we don't need to put anything inside because if you're using soaps inside the vagina or douching, that can make someone more prone to vaginitis and infection.
So Dr. King, what are your thoughts on vaginal dryness? Do things like Pedialyte and or Yoni bars actually work?
So vaginal dryness can happen for a variety of reasons. One of the big reasons it'll happen is when people are perimenopausal or menopausal, because that is a state where our natural estrogen levels start to decline. It's a normal physiologic decline because the ovaries are no longer producing as much estrogen as they previously were. And so that can impact areas like the vagina and the vulva. And so some people will experience vaginal dryness. Sometimes after childbirth, people can experience dryness as well, because again, there tends to be a little bit, has been a decline in estrogen at that particular point postpartum. And so sometimes, and especially if moms are breastfeeding, Pedialyte, it is essentially a form of hydration. So when little kids are sick and they can't really keep down food, but they need to stay hydrated, it has water and electrolytes, essentially. It's like a kitty Gatorade, if you will. And so I don't necessarily know if there's any benefit to it versus just drinking water, whether it's gonna actually enhance vaginal moisture and lubrication over just adequate hydration. I can't really say. I don't know. She mentioned like waterfalls. When it's time to get it in, and so I'm assuming they are doing that to enhance moisture and lubrication. If someone is perimenopausal or menopausal, you could drink all the water in the world, but that's not going to change your estrogen levels, because in that particular instance, that is why someone might be experiencing vaginal dryness. Certainly if someone's experiencing that and they're not postpartum and they're not perimenopausal or menopausal, they can go and get checked out to see, hey, do I have any type of infection or skin inflammation or anything that may be causing some different sensation or like a dry sensation.
What are your thoughts on feminine washes?
Unfortunately, with women's hygiene products and marketing in general, they prey on the fact that it's like women need to look, feel, smell, a certain way. When 99% of the time, we probably don't need all of that. And like I said, it's gorgeous. It's a beautiful product. And to each his own. If that makes you feel great and it's not causing you any issues, go right ahead. But I want people to be aware of what happens with marketing. It is, you need to feel fresh. Your intimate skin should feel clean, and and it's just like, we could just, real talk, you could get a bar of soap and water. As long as it's not something that's irritating your skin, use something that works for you. We actually use like witch hazel pads postpartum more for like the cooling sensation and just for discomfort if moms have had tears and there's just generally soreness and swelling down there. So I'm not opposed necessarily to witch hazel if someone wants to use that to cleanse or what have you. But again, I think if people are doing a nice thorough job cleaning all the nooks and crannies, we don't necessarily need, all these things.
And speaking of, let's talk Yoni bars. I saw the ingredients for one in particular. So this bar contains glycerin, shea butter, peppermint oil, rosemary oil, tea tree oil, clary sage oil, oregano oil, vitamin E oil, clove oil, lang lang, jasmine, and skin safe mica.
Some of those oils are very potent and strong. So we also have to just be very cautious. I would truly say, you know, if people are going to be trying different soaps and products, do like a little test spot somewhere. Now, our vulvar skin is a little bit thinner and a little bit more sensitive often, and so, you know, what may be fine for your hands, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily use a hand soap on the vulva, you know what I mean, unless you're just using like a Dove bar or something like that. So we just have to be cautious about what is in these products, because again, time you have mint, that's going to definitely leave a very probably refreshing and tingly feeling.
Supplements for vaginal health are talked about all the time on social media, and because they're supplements, they're healthy and they're good for us, right? Right?
I think probiotics in general are okay. You can get them a variety of ways. There are actually a lot of foods that have natural probiotics in them. But again, like I said, you know, we have a lot of like medicines and supplements in this world, and I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that, but we can get a lot of things just from food. You can get probiotics from kombucha. You can get, you know, from eating yogurt, you know, so there are ways that you can get them from foods is to help maintain lactobacilli, and basically therefore helping maintain vaginal pH. If you don't take it and you're not having any issues, that's fine. I don't think it's something you must run out and take or else. The whole kind of idea behind the probiotics, at least for vaginal health, is to help maintain lactobacilli, and basically therefore helping maintain vaginal pH. So, you know, probiotics can be good for gut health. So I generally, you know, if somebody wants to take a probiotic, go for it. I don't think you necessarily have to take any particular brand. I mean, obviously, like she mentioned, look at the ingredients, because, you know, you'll have some that are made, the capsules are made of gelatin. And if you're a vegetarian or vegan or don't eat pork, you know, so you just have to watch things like that and just make sure you're okay with the ingredients. But I generally think a probiotic is okay.
So as you know, summer can also mean additional aerobic activities, and this TikToker gave a list of 8 postcoital tips, but I wanted to focus on 2 of them.
I know it's all cute to lay up with your man, but baby, you got 30 minutes. If you anything like me and you're a little bit more sensitive, even when using protection or even when doing everything that you can, just sitting around and letting that bacteria, all of that stuff fester around you, it's an open invitation. Hop in the shower as quickly as you can. I have to do my due diligence and tell y'all, please be safe and wrap it up, okay? But some of y'all married, some of y'all in solid relationships, and then sometimes, you know, it happens. This is a judgment-free zone, so you might become an oatmeal pie, okay? It happens. If you become an oatmeal pie, it happens. Not a proponent of douching or putting water up. I know a lot of times if you have been caught in this position, you want to get that stuff out of you. But what I do suggest doing is as quickly as you can after y'all do it, is to go pee. When you go pee, you are allowing your muscles to help you bear down. For those of us who have had churn before, we know how to bear down. If you don't know how to bear down, it's almost like you pushing with the rooter instead of the tutor, if that makes sense. So while you're peeing, you want to make sure that you are bearing down. So the pee is a little bit more forceful. Now, if you're not used to bearing down around down there and you can't differentiate the two, turn on the sink because you might be farting a little bit. Make sure you are bearing down and allow gravity to help that stuff come up out of you. That's going to also keep you fresh and clean because that stuff can make you stink.
See, now I told y'all we were going deep into 304 talk, and I meant deep. But Dr. King, what do you think about these post-sex tips?
Let's get to the medical terms. Essentially what she is saying, if someone has ejaculated inside of you and you then therefore have semen inside, that's what she's talking about, laying up with that stuff inside of you. That's what, in case anybody missed it, this is the thing. We talked a little bit about vaginal pH, right? Well, semen has an alkaline pH. And so for some people, when their partner ejaculates inside of them, it can throw off their pH because you now have introduced a new liquid that wasn't typically there. And so it can, for some people, throw off their pH. And some people will notice that they have, they will get BV or a vaginitis every time they have sex with their partner. And they're like, what is going on? Is he, you know, giving me an STD, blah, blah, blah. And oftentimes it can be because their pH has kind of gotten thrown off a little bit because of the alkaline nature of semen. So if the person has never had an issue before, like if say this was a long-term partnership and it's never been a problem, they don't end up having recurrent, BV, or they don't have, any irritation or really any concerns that are problematic for them, it makes me never mind. You know what I mean? But certainly if this is someone who is like, they do have recurrent BV, or they do have just any recurrent odor or anything, it is something that they would probably want to address. But I think, regarding removal or kind of helping semen come out, that's really going to be on an individual basis. Like if someone, like I said, has never had an issue with it, for that particular partner. Now, they may have a new partner and things may be different, So it really depends on each individual person. And obviously personal preference. If that is just something that you want to do, then certainly gravity is going to help things come out. A gentle rinse in that area is going to help things come out. But I think it just has to be individualized. Everybody does what works for them.
Number 8 is another controversial one. I'm not a doctor, okay? But there are post inserts that you can put in there that is specifically made to keep your pH on balance or to help you after you do the do. You want to talk to your OB-GYN or your doctor or your nurse practitioner, 304 TikTok. Because baby, they know about this because it might not be the thing for you, but I like refresh.
Like, people got all kind of stuff. When she said that, my first mind went to, if I'm not mistaken, there is a product that's essentially like a tampon that you insert and it basically kind of absorbs everything and you take it out. And some people actually even just use a tampon. But if you place a tampon inside, it will, it's just like if you're doing it with your period, whatever moisture is there, it's just gonna kind of suck and draw into the tampon and then you can take it out later. And so I think it's best that people just know their bodies and know how they respond and how their body reacts to different things. Soap and water does a lot. Soap and water can do a lot. It's meant to kill bacteria. That's why we wash our hands for 20 seconds. You remember during COVID, it was like, wash your hands. I mean, I've been washing my hands for a long time and scrubbing during surgeries forever and ever, because you need that long for the soap to basically help break down the cell wall of the bacteria and basically destroy it so bacteria can be killed. So soap and water does a lot, and so we just need to just do some basics. But again, if someone does use Refresh and they find it to be helpful, that's also fine. Like if it gives them lubrication and it also provides any other benefits for them, I think that's also fine. I don't want people to just feel like they have to do these 8 steps and they have to do, people have been having sex for a real long time, but they weren't necessarily using post inserts and all of these other things. So again, I think if people find it helpful and beneficial and it doesn't cause them any ill effects, go for it. If you feel like, every time I have intercourse, I just notice this or that, you may want to get it checked out and see, am I having an infection each time I'm having intercourse? Or is this just normal discharge? And I do need to go and make sure I am rinsing and cleansing just immediately after so I can feel my best. So I think it's just a matter of individualizing everything. But I feel like some of these videos are the complete opposite. It's like, everybody go and do this now, so we gotta, I think it's helpful. I appreciate the conversations. I appreciate you having me, but I appreciate the conversations because it does open up the space for us to have this conversation, that know your body and then decide what's best for you.
And ladies, one other thing to add to this conversation, Dr. King also mentioned that there was a recent study showing that sometimes if you have reoccurring BV, that it could be your partner. So treating the male partner can be beneficial in preventing reoccurrence, as men can essentially harbor BV in the urethra. I'm also going to link to an article that you can check out below to read more about it.
If you got bad breath or any kind of body odor, really, this is going to yank that out of there. This right here is going to have you smelling right. Main ingredient is chlorophyll, and chlorophyll's been used forever for body odor, the liquid ones particularly, but this is actually cheaper than that in the store. I would highly recommend this if you are a smell good queen.
Again, chlorophyll comes directly from plants. any green plant, well, not any green plants necessarily, but like if you're eating spinach or broccoli or, you know, anything like that, it's gonna have chlorophyll in it. So if you're eating a really nice balanced diet with lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, a lot of them will have chlorophyll. There will be prebiotics and probiotics in a lot of the foods that we consume naturally. If we eat that way, we don't necessarily need supplements. Like people ask me about like just even a multivitamin, but if we actually have a really balanced diet, like we can technically get all we need in our food. Like we don't have to take, but just think of how, I mean, always go back to the money. Just think about how much money they're making in these industries, you know, where we're selling supplements. Like, and again, I think some are fine. I just don't think that it's necessarily something that everyone has to have all the time. We're gonna take a multivitamin, take a multivitamin. You know, it's not gonna harm you, but we can often get the nutrients, minerals, and vitamins that we need if we're really looking at our diet.
Funny story now, but you know, it wasn't nothing funny back then. You better not break out on no smile or nothing. But when I was in my early 20s, there were countless times that I would have my gynecologist test me for STDs, only to find out what, you know, the bumps was some ingrown hairs. But Dr. King, how can we tell if what we're looking at is an ingrown hair or something more serious?
If you are a person who actively engages in hair removal, and again, especially as Black women, we tend to have coily hair. So that hair is going to grow out the follicle in a curl. And so sometimes it curls back on itself before it gets out of the follicle. And that's what causes an ingrown hair. So if you know you do hair removal, whether it's just a bikini line, if you get a full Brazilian, what have you, then you know that you're already at risk potentially for ingrown hairs. You know, if you're not sexually active and you notice a bump and you know that you do hair removal, it's ingrown hair. If you're not sexually active, you're not having an STD. If you have something like syphilis, that's gonna appear in one single lesion versus with ingrown hairs, you may have more than one, like on your bikini line. If you have something like herpes, an initial outbreak is often going to be around the labia and will be like vesicles. And so an ingrown hair is going to be where there is hair. And again, if you have been removing hair, shaving, plucking, any depilatories, then you are at risk for ingrown hairs. It's always a great idea if you're sexually active to get routine STD testing as well, and know the status of your partner and just be responsible as you're engaging.
Now, what about underwear? Are there things that we should avoid?
Cotton underwear is always helpful because it's breathable, but generally, you know, wearing looser fitting clothing or really breathable. Like you could have on a pair of fitted pants that's still breathable. You can carry a, you know, like a wipe or something like that. It could be baby wipes. It could be, they have even some feminine hygiene wipes if you just kind of want to stay fresh. If you know that you are prone to sweating, you know, on the vulva and the vagina, and you just want to feel a little bit more fresh after going to the bathroom, you can definitely use something like that. Again, make sure it doesn't need to have a lot of fragrance in it. It doesn't need to have any oils or, you know, a bunch of stuff. It could even just be like a water wipe. You know, they have those where it's just, you know, it'll help you get clean more than just maybe like toilet paper would.
Now, if you made it this far in this video, we besties. You might as well hit that thumbs up, subscribe, sign up for the notifications, and join the membership on this channel, because now that we was all up in the bushes in the thick of it, what are your best options for removing bikini hair and preventing discoloration? In this video right here, we are going through the pros and cons of brightening and grooming the bikini area, how to remove the hair properly, how to avoid ingrown hairs, how to lighten the area. We're talking all about that in this video here. Click on it and I'll meet you there.